It is time for us to dig a little bit deeper.
Huh?
It is time for us to not be this zoomed out 30,000-foot view sports program.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Not Stooges anymore. No. Let's dive into the weeds a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to feel the beat. You see, we're feeling it.
Yeah.
I was kind of feeling it.
The beat.
Because we haven't felt the beat in a while. So we will feel the beat by going to beat writers for each team to see what the feel is with boots on the ground. Let's go to Minnesota with ESPN NFL Nation reporter Kevin Seifert. Kevin, thank you for joining us, pal.
Thanks for having me, Pat. I wish I could do that dance. I'm not that good.
Well, you don't have to feel the beat. You just got to know the news. And we appreciate you joining us with all that type of information. Let's dive right in. Justin Jefferson goes to IR. This is Heartbreak City, especially with where the Vikings are right now. Schefter kind of put out a tweet that was kind of like, we'll see where the Vikings are when Justin Jefferson comes back. What is the thought for this season with Justin Jefferson? And is there a world where 4 weeks from now, if the Vikings season is dead, we just kind of mail it in with Justin Jefferson so we don't risk another injury with him for the rest of the year?
I don't think it'll be that dramatic. I think, first of all, the 4 weeks is simply just because you have to spend 4 weeks on IR if you get put on IR. I think the injury itself is significant enough that there's some concern that even at week 5, he's not going to be ready. And then you get into the contract thing. Basically, what I take from that and what my understanding is that he won't feel rushed to get back. And the Vikings aren't going to rush him back either. A player at that position with a hamstring strain of the significance that he apparently has is not going to be that effective. So I do not think this is going to be a season-ending thing. I don't think he's going to stage a hold-in from everything I can understand. But I also know that he's not going to rush to get back at 70% or 80% because I don't think that would make sense for anyone.
Yeah, especially if you guys are 1-8 or 1-7. What are the vibes over there with the football gods seemingly not blessing the Vikings at all this year versus last year blessing them every single time they had an opportunity to be blessed?
I mean, it's almost like the pendulum has just swung the other way. They got every loose ball last year. They got every fortunate break. If you're a big analytics guy, they were one of the luckiest teams in the NFL last year. And this year, they're one of the unluckiest. They're fumbling. They're not recovering them. They're throwing passes that should be a touchdown and it's going off people's hands for interceptions or vice versa. And so I think the vibe is a little shell-shocked. I think they probably thought last year that they had a system and a culture in place that could avoid those sort of unlucky things. And I think what they found out is that it happens to everybody.
Well, rule number 19 of creating your own luck from Rich Paul is your worst experience can be your best credential. This year feels like the worst experience that they could potentially have. Connor has a question for you, Kevin.
Yeah, Kev, what's the
Yes,
deal
sir.
with Kirk Cousins? Obviously, he has a no-trade clause, so if he were to be traded, he'd have to approve it. I see some people on the X saying that they want to sign Kirk Cousins for 10 years. I see some people that want him out of the building. What do you think is going to happen? And do you actually believe that Kirk Cousins will be the Minnesota Vikings quarterback this time next season?
Initially at the start of the season, I thought there was a pretty good chance of that. But the way this has started, they're going to have to ask themselves the question, does it make sense to bring back what would be a 36-year-old starting quarterback to a team that didn't make the playoffs and is going to have to, assuming they want to sign Justin Jefferson, they're going to have to pay him quarterback money as well. And they have plenty of other holes to fill. And so I think that the chances of him returning next year are seeming less and less likely. As far as whether they trade him, as you said, the no trade clause is there, and he wanted that there for a reason. I think Kirk Cousins has always been someone who felt very motivated to be able to control every movement that he made career-wise, and he's been able to do that through the years with the franchise tag in Washington and all the way into free agency. And so, I think you also get into is there anybody who really wants to acquire him for a very short period of time? And I don't know if that's the case or not. Obviously, the Jets are out there. But I don't think that he is going to be likely to want to move. We'll see if there's somebody can make it worth his while. But it doesn't feel like it's something, just knowing him and his personality and the way he likes to feel grounded and in control. I don't know that a midseason trade would seem the likeliest scenario right now.
Especially with how nice his house is out there. We saw it on quarterback, you know what I mean? Hey, Kevin, we appreciate you so much. We hope things turn around there so you can live a happier life too.
Thank you very much, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Seifert, thank you, buddy. All right, that's Minnesota with the Justin Jefferson news. Going to IR. Has to go to IR for 4 weeks, obviously, but they put him on IR for a reason. You know, he said, well, the only reason why it's 4 weeks is because IR. It's like, we know that, but that was a decision that had to be made. Could have been a 1 to 2 week type thing. Didn't even think about the hold in. I was thinking from the Vikings standpoint, them saying, hey, we got nothing to play for. Because if it ends up 1-8, whenever they're done, I don't know when their bye week is, another 4 weeks after this. If they end up at that, it's like all stats from the history say this team is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
This guy's your best player. I guess with no deal done, would they still want him to play? That'll be something we got to monitor because you never want to rest, especially as professional athletes.
Did they put out like the grade or tear or whatever? Because
IR, straight
put him on
to
IR
IR.
quick.
Straight like this. That fast, wasn't
Yeah, that was real quick. Not like a second opinion.
But him saying he might not be in any rush to get back either because of that contract, it was not surprising.
Yeah, at all, especially with the record that they're at. If their team was good and that was happening, then super heel move. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But since he's come in and been the guy that, and also other wide receivers drafted before him. So he is not, like everybody sees him now, they're like, yeah, he's the best. It was easy. It was like, nah. A lot of people missed on not drafting Justin Jefferson. And then as soon as he gets there, he becomes the guy. If your team's already out and there's a contract, like generational wealth-changing contract coming, we could understand, I think, that decision. I'm sure Vikings fans will not be happy, though, that paid for season tickets. And they're like, what are we?
Yeah.
We're 1-8.
Yeah.
It's 4 degrees outside. We got the best guy on our team on the sideline.